Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Ravukakodash. Double honors to elder apostles, a great millstone who do it well. Peace, love, and blessings also to you brothers on the highways and byways, giving all diligence to make your calling and election sure, and also blessings to the very few sisters out there that are listening, learning, and believing. I'm the Philip Kanakla, coming at you once again with the lesson, Lord's will through the Spirit and power, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. This lesson is edifying and exhorting. And, the precept we always go into in Joel, the 3rd chapter, Joel 3, specifically the 10th verse, where it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right. And as the understanding of that, I'm going to go into these articles and I'm going to start verse 9. But the understanding of that is these nations preparing for war, as it says in the 9th verse. And the plowshares and pruning hooks are agricultural tools, okay? But the understanding, we know the breakdown of that's these nations putting all their money, all right, their budget more towards the military, okay? And everything else is basically irrelevant because a war, all right, is getting ready to be prepared. The war is being prepared, but war is getting ready to go down. And it goes to show you in those times, here it is. Biden proposes largest military budget in history. All right. The spending hike is aimed at countering China and overhauling America's nukes. U.S. President Joe Biden's 2024 budget would increase military spending to a record $842 billion, according to information released by the White House on Thursday. The U.S. already spends more on its military than the next 9 nations combined. All right, it says according to the White House statement, the budget will include a $9.1 billion investment in the Pentagon's Pacific Deterrence Initiative, which is aimed at bolstering the U.S. presence in the Pacific region as a counter to China. Modernization of the U.S. nuclear arsenal will add another $37.7 billion to the budget, while an unknown amount will be sent on shipbuilding and investments in key technologies. Okay. The point is, this is record spending towards the military budget. Why? Because war. All right. So here it is real fast, because they're not taking this money and putting it into farming when the farming industry in America needs help. All right. Farmers are having a hard time basically with the diesel prices. Okay. More like, once again, the agricultural type of jobs. They're not putting their money into that. All right. You don't see articles about that. Okay. But here it is. They're putting their money into the military budget, which backs up that scripture. So here it is, China's 2023 defense budget to rise by 7.2%, a reasonable restraint increase amid global security tensions. All right. It says China on Sunday announced a draft budget for 2023. And as you can see, year by year, all right, the spending budget continues to grow. Why? Because it's prophecy. This is the war to end all wars. It's a buildup. All right. So it says China on Sunday announced a draft budget for 2023, which will see the country's annual defense budget to rise. There's 1.5537 trillion yuan. Really know how to pronounce that number, but here it is in U.S. dollars, 224.79 billion, an increase of 7.2%, remaining single digit for the 8th consecutive year. Analysts said that for the figure marks a reasonable restraint boost amid military spending sprees by many other countries. All right. So amid, in the midst of military spending by many other countries around the world in light of global security tension. So not just America and China, many other countries as well are increasing their military budget. All right, because this is a time of war. So here it is, the prophet uh, Joel. All right. Joel 3:9 says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." That's the smaller nations, also too preparing for war. Nations that wouldn't have ever thought to even rise up against America. Now they got nukes now. They're spending their money, and they basically obtaining that great equalizer. All right, that's why America hasn't went into North Korea. All right, because they have nuclear missiles. All right, that North Korea is just an example. All right, India as well. India is pretty decent sized country. All right, America don't mess with them. Why? Because they got a large nuclear arsenal. Okay, but real fast, let's look up plowshares, because I don't want to make this lesson too long. I want to get right to the point. Well, pruning hook I got first. All right, so you see a pruning hook. Okay, agricultural tool. Okay, and they even had an example here. Somebody had, but we're gonna come back to this plowshares and pruning hooks, and you see him beating it into a sword. Okay, let's go back. Definition: a cutting tool used for pruning, consisting of hook blade on a long tail. What is pruning hooks used for? An implement, a hook blade used for pruning vines, branches, etc. All right, vines and branches. All right, agricultural, not for war, but that metal, all right, which is used in ancient terminology. All right, that pruning hook is going to be forged into a weapon. All right, so here's plowshares. In agriculture, plowshare or plowshare UK is a component of a plow or plow. It is the cutting leading edge of a moldboard which closely follows the coulter, one or more ground breaking spikes when plowing. All right, and as it says, in agriculture. Okay, the U.S. and China and all these other countries, you don't see no increase in budget within the agricultural. No, because it's not time for that. All right, it's time for war. Okay, so let's go back to the word pruning hook. Okay, and they have an image here, illustration. Like I said, I'm not gonna make this too long. All right, someone made an illustration here: plowshares and pruning hooks, and you got a dude beating it with a hammer, right? So let's go to this video here. And we only watched like 2 minutes of it. It says, rusted railway track forged into a beautiful katana, which is a sword. So this is what they would do in the ancient world. As you can see here, he has the rail track. All right, he's going to cut it. Okay. Have to heat it up. All right, you get the point. All right, but you see, pretty much you can take that metal. So the prophet, using the basically the ancient terminology, he was able to take that plowshare or take that pruning hook, put some heat to it, forge it, all right, with the hammer. It's metal, all right, it's forged. It only can be forged when it's under heat, all right. Once it reaches its melting point, you're able to forge into a weapon. Okay, so it's symbolic to what's going on today as you see these nations. All right, this is the time. This is the time that we're in. That's why you see all their money going towards the military. But it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahushaphat, the Most High's judgment. All right. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in a sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come you get down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. So the Lord is preparing all these nations, and all these nations are gearing up to go to war. So we'll get Revelation, the 9th chapter. We'll close out here. I just wanted to expound on that point. You know, prophecy is taking place. All right. Revelation 9 will start at 12. It says, one woe is past, talking about the First World War. Okay. One woe is past, and behold, here come two woes more hereafter. So the Second World War is past, and we're getting ready to enter into we already entered into the Third World War. It just hasn't been declared yet as World War III. All right. But it hasn't reached its climax, that is when the missiles are shot off. Because pursuant to the prophet Isaiah, this war, I believe it's the 9th chapter, this war is going to be fought with burning and fuels of fire. It says, and 6 angels sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in a great river Euphrates, which is drying up. It says, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. All right. And that third part of man is 3 classifications of men. That third part is the wicked, which is Esau, Edom. Okay. So-called Europeans today, they are the third part of man, which is the wicked, because through this war, all right, their kingdom will be destroyed. Okay, so this is prepared for the third part of men. It says, the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000 and 1,000, and I heard the number of them. All right, and this is describing the missiles, 200 million missiles. It says, and thus I saw the horses in a vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. All right, it's talking about the warheads on the missiles, on the rocket systems that propel them, all right, from continent to continent. It says, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone, because the nuclear missiles is the modern day fire and brimstone that the Lord is going to rain down on Babylon the Great, aka America. It says, by these 3 were the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. Once again, the warheads. It says, for their power is in their mouth, the head of the missiles. It says, and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the tails like unto serpents, that's the rocket system that propels, all right, these missiles. All right. It says, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works of their hands, that they should not worship the devils and idols and gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. All right. And this is going to be basically the elites, the remnant of Edom that's going to be left, all right, and put into captivity. It says, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. All right, because Esau, Edom, the wicked. Okay. This war is going to be the destruction of his kingdom and the introduction of the kingdom of heaven, which is Yahweh's kingdom. All right, by default is Israel. All right, to be joint heirs with Yahushai. Okay, and Esau's kingdom is going to be uprooted by these fires and by the chariots. All right, the so-called UFOs or spaceships that Yahushai is going to return on. So with that, Lord's Wilderness was edifying. Didn't want to make this video too long. Till next time, giving all praise to Yahweh, Shalom.